This is going to be part 2 of this 1937 GMC truck build. This is my donor truck that I just got back to the shop. I'm going to take a few minutes and familiarize myself with the truck. We're going to start washing it all down to get rid of all the excess dirt and grime so we can start diving in and making sure we've got a solid candidate for our swap. Last I heard, it had ran after the accident, and the last time it was fired up was 8 to 10 years ago. I'm going to come in here with my air wand and just blow the years of stagnant dust out of this thing before we start twisting on the key and seeing if the starter won't fire off, and fingers crossed the engine starts up. I'm not worried about the diesel deteriorating or anything. It's still probably as good as the day it was pumped in the tank. I am a little bit concerned about this because it's been exposed to the sun for so long. I'm not sure if I need this or not at this moment. So I've got to look into it and just make sure we're not going to have a fire behind the shop before we can get started, I guess. Everything else I see is pretty good. It looked like it was, in pretty good shape. Tires are almost brand new. When it did get in the accident, we're going to take this front sheet metal off as well because we need to expose the damage. I know that the frame is shifted this way more than I originally thought, but I'm not quite sure how far, and I'm hoping when we start taking some of these parts off, the frame's going to slowly start to de-stress and we're going to start pulling it back over to the driver's side. So let's just get started, I guess. So things are looking a lot nicer. As you can see, everything's a little more defined, easier to find. Interior, I just kind of blew out a little bit. I can't get that door open. I guess in the collision it got pinched, but I lately kind of just washed this off with the hose and cleaned it out just a little bit. I'm washing the rest of the frame mostly just to have a good look over it. And things like this, guys, are the reasons why frames rot out. Every once in a while, it just pays to dig these little spots out. So in here is going to be where the worst of the rust is. Now there is a drain down there, and when you're washing your vehicle, if you directly hit it, it will keep clear. But you can see that's all flaking steel. But if this would have been parked and this would have been cleaned, well, this would have been in better shape. Let's check the other side. See right down there? Now I can poke it all the way through to drain. I guess too bad, because that probably is the worst spot on the frame for rust. This side's probably the same. Yep. Not quite as bad, but definitely. See, if you have a box on your truck, you can kind of come down from the underside. You can always reach up with the hose here, and you could probably clean it from the top side as well, but you can also get it from the underside. But you definitely want to get right down till the screwdriver, you can see. Now, as long as this sand doesn't build up in there again, it will always flush out in an hour instead of being wet for like 3 days. The other side is the worst side. That side's not that bad. I don't know where that purple or pink or whatever old line went. It just doesn't look like it went here. So there is a little spot where it laid there for a really long time. So I'm not sure if that was a little spout, but it doesn't look like it goes anywhere. So I think we're just going to try to twist it over and see if we can't get it to come back to life. And if we see diesel spewing out here, we'll know to stop. Let's get a battery in this thing and see if we can't make some smoke. I've installed a fresh battery. Gonna come around here and see if she won't fire up. My prediction, she's good to go and is gonna fire up pretty quick. Okay. Oh. Come on, baby. There we go. Wake up, little buddy. We've got some work to do. I'm gonna let it warm up just a little bit. I noticed that one of the fins on the fan is broke right off, so the truck is vibrating a little bit. It's probably because that fan is off balance. Sounds pretty good. Now if we can just resolve all this, we'll be in good shape. Next on the list, we've got to pull this bumper off, front fenders, everything around here to start assessing the damage. But it's alive. Let's maybe jump in and test the clutch. I'm not sure it's a good idea, but let's try going backwards. Come on. Oh yeah, clutch feels good, we're moving. Oh yes. Oh, we just gotta fix your frame. You'll be beautiful. This cab's not in bad shape rust-wise. I noticed that the one floor pan under my feet is a little bit crispy, but the rest of it is pretty good. Like the cab corners are pretty mint. So maybe somebody's looking for this cab. Fenders obviously are toast, but I'm probably just gonna sawzall somewhere around here after I strip a bunch of the wiring off of the inner fenders. I want to get this all apart as fast as I can. The sooner we get past this like damage from the accident, the faster we can get actually onto building this vehicle. I look forward to seeing the 37 cab sitting with that Cummins engine under the hood. It's gonna be pretty sweet. If we keep picking away at it just a little bit each day, before we know it, we're gonna have it in our life. So far, our purchase is pretty good. We got this truck for a pretty decent deal because the frame damage, and we're taking a little bit of a gamble on if I'm gonna be able to fix it or not. Well, I have to fix it. So it's just which way am I gonna fix it, I guess. I really wish I had some kind of frame straightening machine, but I don't. What I do have is a forklift. So we'll come up with something. Let's get this front clip off, start loosening the cab bolts, and getting ready to strip this thing. I just removed the bumper and I'm starting to see the damage. I don't know if you guys can tell, but those frame horns are going towards passenger side. Let's take off the rest and see what else we can find. bent all right. A lot more than the 3 inches I was thinking. Bring you guys in for the first look. It looks like we're shoved over probably 5 inches from there to there, about 5 inches. This side is definitely the worst side. Look at the angle on that power steering box. This side, you can see how curved under it is. It's definitely a lot worse than I thought, but there it is. So, pull the cab off. By the looks of it, we're gonna have to pull the engine and transmission as well. It's the only way I'm gonna be able to get at all this damage. What I'm thinking though is I should probably do the first pull with the engine installed. It'll give a little bit of extra support on that cross member. So maybe we can get like 65% of it out with one tug with the engine in, and then go in there, and I'm thinking like porta power, maybe some come-alongs, use of the forklift. Everything we really have at our disposal is going to be used for this frame straightening. But there it is in all its glory. It would have been a lot nicer to get a truck that didn't have a bent frame, but they're getting very expensive, and we really got this one out of steel. So I feel like it's worth the effort to try to straighten the frame. If we can't straighten it, then obviously plan B would be looking for another frame, but I feel like I've made a lot of frames in my life. I should be able to straighten a few. So we'll work through it. But there it is for now. So I've been looking this over for a little bit now, and I'm really starting to think that this center mark on the crank was supposed to be lined up with this. So I think if I took a square and I actually did a measurement, I would find that I'm probably about 3 inches to the passenger side. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, I want to see if I can push it. I'm not quite ready, but there's a challenge standing here right in front of me. It's not going to take me too long before I'm like, okay, I'm in. So we're going to bring the forklift over. We're going to poke one fork, I'm thinking, right in between these 4 rivets. Put a plate on here, jab the fork into it, tie something right around this cross member here, and pull off the back side of the forklift. That will be right about here. If that's not quite enough, then we'll go to plan B, which we'll figure that out on the fly. So I'm grabbing the forklift. We're gonna straighten this thing. We're gonna set you guys up right about here. Let me know if it starts to come over. I just wanted to give you guys an update on where I'm at. This is my rigging. I got 1.5 inches worth of plate there sitting against the frame, kind of at the start of the bend. Come along from that cross member over to the mast, and we're gaining. When we started, I mentioned before that this, I believe, is what is relative to how far the front end is pushed that way. And you can see where we started. I put a mark, it was 2 5/8 inches. That hole was off center compared to the engine. Now this is just rough and dirty because I'm still gonna have to pull the engine out to the final cross measurements and make sure everything is level. This is just getting 80% of the impact damage out before I pull the engine and the cab and everything. So it's just a better starting point when I actually do get to the real frame straightening. So let's go a little bit further, see if we can't get kind of within a 1/2 inch. I'll show you how far we've moved. So if I square off of that, this is just, again, rough and dirty. That's about center. So you can see right there to our line, that's how far I've pulled it so far, and that's how far I have left to go. So we'll just go a little further. So far it's going good. I've only been at it for half an hour and we're halfway there. So that's about as far as I'm gonna go with this setup. I'm pretty much, I think, 85% there. As you can see, the hole is now on this side of center. I still have a lot of tension on it, but it's looking pretty good. This horn is down a little bit, so when I bring it into the shop, I'll anchor it to the floor. We'll do round 2 on the frame repair, but we're in way better shape now than we were. So with this system, I pretty much just went around and tightened, heat, and shocked the steel round and round and round, little bit at a time, heat it up, pull it a little bit further, and tap out the stress. Just let it go easy. Then I would release it, let all the stress and tension off, bring her back up the tension, heat, stress relief with the hammer. And it came around pretty good. Let's see what happens when we release all of the pressure. And I'm thinking we're going to be coming back onto about center. Now, I can't be 100% sure that this is what I'm supposed to be lining up to, but it's a lot better than where we were at. And I'll be able to do some cross-referencing once the engine's out of my way and the cab is off. So for now, I feel like we're way further ahead than if we would have left it. I like the fact that the engine was in place, because now with that cross member and the engine, it's creating quite the structure there. So it was holding the rails at the bent point really secure. If I would have took the engine out, I feel like with just that cross member, it could have folded in the frame rail and not did what I wanted. So far so good. Let's get this rigging off of here. And next step, take the cab off and get this thing ready to be brought in the shop to take care of the last bit of frame repair, because I really want to see the 37 sitting on this chassis. And then we'll talk about a few more things down the road. But for now, guys, be safe out there. Peace.